The reason why we're doing this video, I want to interview Dean Mitchell. He's the owner of MitchellFitness.solutions, was a bodybuilder. Dean's been a student here for 3 years, and he's one of the people that lives this healthy lifestyle that a lot of students at Kaizen are looking for. So when I have students come into the school, they always say they want to learn self-defense and they want to get in shape. So we can help people with the self-defense, but getting in shape, I wanted to bring in an expert. And anyone that knows Dean knows that Dean is living this lifestyle. As we're doing this interview, his water bottle and his food is sitting on the bench right over there. And that's something that a lot of people struggle with. So that's why I wanted to bring him in and fire some questions at him to help you guys out. So Dean, if you want to tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so as you touched on, at one point I was a bodybuilder, not these days. I am a little bit too busy with 4 little kids, a wife, and a very, very busy business that I own. Now, not too far, it's actually in downtown Northville. And essentially what I do, or what my business is kind of wrapped around, is I do consulting, and it's very specific to what people need to actually get results. And I know that kind of sounds gimmicky, but in terms of the fitness industry, there's so many gyms out there nowadays that want to hand you a nice shiny membership card and let you loose on 5,000 pieces of equipment, but nobody really knows what they're doing. So when someone hires me, it's basically me stepping in and I tell them exactly what they need to do, when they need to do it, and how they need to do it. And most importantly, why. I'm a big advocate of education, which is why I love Kaizen. The education, in my opinion, is what really drives it home, and getting people results is pretty much the easy part of the job. It's getting them to sustain it that is really what I'm most interested in. So that's pretty much kind of what I do.
Okay. Well, being a practitioner yourself for 3 years, I wanted to ask you about what kind of a diet you recommend for Jiu-Jitsu. Jiu-Jitsu's got an element of strength in it, also a cardio element. So wanted to get your take on what to eat and when to eat.
Yeah. And that's a huge, that's a big question that I ask a lot of the students here after, before and after rolls. I think it's just ingrained in me, but I'm always asking, hey, what did you eat before? What did you eat after? And it's interesting to me to see how much people don't know about nutrition, but how much they're grasping or they're reaching to get a hold of from kind of some of the information that they're getting from the internet, and more specifically, some of the information they're getting from a lot of the professionals that they're watching. The Marcelo Garcias, all these high-level athletes, they're kind of using them as resources for what they should be eating. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but the thing that I want people to try to remember is that those guys are pros. This is what they do 7 days a week. The level of energy that they're putting out on the mats is astronomical, and it's every single day. If you're a guy like myself, and this is your passion, and this is what you love to do, but at the end of the day, you still have your 9 to 5, you still have these other things, you need to have a very different perspective. So my advice in terms of kind of how you should approach nutrition in relation to the mat is you should look at it from nutrient timing. Okay, and what I mean by that is nutrient timing is basically defined as providing your body with what it needs when it needs it. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So, for example, my diet or what I'm consuming throughout the day on days that I roll looks very, very different from the days that I'm not rolling. So an example would be, if I'm going to take it genetically, I'm kind of I can gain weight very easily. Okay, so that said, I have to be very, very careful about starch-based carbs and sugar specifically. Those of you that are struggling with weight and you're trying to see a reduction in specifically body fat, those are always 2 macronutrients you need to watch very closely. Starch-based carbohydrates, i.e. bread, pasta, rice, all those types of things that the majority of us love, and sugars. So I'm watching those very, very closely. If I know that I'm going to burn them up, that's when I take them in. So again, when I know I'm going to be on the mats, I will be taking in some type of a starch-based carb, usually not sugar, but a starch-based carb before my roll. For me personally, that's usually going to look like a rice or a sweet potato, something like that. I'm not a big advocate of bread, but again, just to give you an idea, those are something that I'm going to be kind of reaching for before I go on the mat. Because that's what's going to give me the energy that I need for the roll. More importantly, I'm going to utilize it. I'm going to burn it off. On a day that I'm not rolling, there's no need for me to take in that starch-based carb, so I'm going to eliminate that from my diet. And those of you that are, you're watching this video and you're thinking, well, this guy's a fitness professional and he's a little bit over the top, and you kind of need to look at it as what you're doing off the mat is going to play and have such an impact on how you perform on the mat. Okay, and an example being, I can remember there was a time when I was trying to play with it and I actually removed starch-based carbs. Even on the days I was rolling, I was dead tired. I had nothing in the tank. And so that says something. That to me, for me personally, basically says that I can't roll without carbs. So that's a big one, nutrient timing, making sure that you're keeping the foods in your system when you should be, keeping the foods out that you should be when you're not rolling. And another one in terms of post-workout is, and this is a big one for my personal clients as well, this pertains to exercise in general, not just on the mats. You've got about a 45-minute window. And when you step off the mats, that you need to put something in your system. And what's going to happen in that 45 minutes is your body's going to say, okay, based on this physical activity that he or she just performed, I'm going to take this food that they're providing me and I'm going to put it to good use. I'm not going to store it. I'm not going to put it in places I don't want it to go. I'm going to use it, and I'm going to use it to make that individual bigger, stronger, faster, whatever it is that you're looking for. That's how those changes take place. If you're the male or female that is coming here on your lunch break and you're rolling on the mats and you're burning, for conversation purposes, 500 calories, and then you're waiting 3 hours to eat, your window is long gone. And so at that point, essentially what you've done is all of the physical changes you were hoping to see will never take place. So, and this is such a profound thing that if I know I don't have food, Ryan just touched on how my food is over there. If I know I don't have access to food, I will not roll, I will not exercise, I won't lift weight, nothing physical, because that nutrient timing is so important. So,
another thing I wanted to ask you about was supplements. It's relatively common for Jiu-Jitsu athletes to use supplements for their joints, for muscle development. So I want to get your take on what you recommend.
Yeah. So a couple key things. Daily multivitamin across the board. It doesn't matter who you are, if you're an ex-Olympic athlete, if you're in the later stages of life, it doesn't really matter. Everybody needs a daily multivitamin. In terms of brand, I don't really have a preference. I will say that if you can find yourself a company or a brand that has an AM and PM dosage, that is always recommended. I don't know of any one-a-day pill that actually is one a day. So outside of the daily multivitamin, I would definitely look up glucosamine and glutamine. Both of those, one is going to help to kind of support your joints, and the other is going to actually help your body repair. So if you're new to Jiu-Jitsu, you're going to learn real quick that you can end up pretty sore after you're off the mats. This is something that kind of help you recover. Supplemental protein, that's key. So for those of you that are out there that have an understanding that protein is kind of a building block or a foundation of supporting muscle or building muscle, you're right. But the difference between supplemental protein versus a whole food protein, so your fish, your chicken, your red meat, whatever it is, the difference is that supplemental protein is actually already partially converted. So when you put it in your system, your body can use it right now. Whereas if it's a whole food protein, your body still has to digest it, break it down, and then kind of does what it does with it. So that's really the main difference, and that's why even again, my clients that are not doing jiu-jitsu, they all have to have protein as a resource because they need that protein right now when I ask them to take it in. So I think that's about it as far as supplements. Oh, and one other one, BCAAs, that's another big one. That stands for branched chain amino acids. That's something I use personally. And essentially what you can kind of think of that as is it's almost like applying or adding a reserve tank to your body. And what I mean by that is usually when your body runs out of calories, so let's say you've kind of missed a meal and you came and you decided you wanted to roll, and it's an intense roll and you're burning through calories, you're just eating them up. When your body runs out of calories, you don't just stop moving, obviously. What happens is your body seeks out other energy sources. And unfortunately, your body's first response is to go into what we call a catabolic state. All that means to you is that your body is going to seek out muscle, okay? That's a huge problem for a number of reasons. The big one in the case of Jiu-Jitsu is obviously we want to support whatever muscle we have that allows us to perform better on the mat. So we don't ever want to be catabolic. So keeping that branched chain amino acid in your system and that BCAA is going to give your body that opportunity when it says, okay, John or Susie Smith is out of calories, we got to get him somewhere. Instead of going to that muscle, it's going to seek out that BCAA and it will utilize that first. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. A real common question I get here is when people sign up is they say, I'm doing jiu-jitsu now, should I be doing weightlifting? Should I be doing other cardio? What kind of activity should I do? And And I see real commonly that guys or women will come in and they might do weightlifting and then jiu-jitsu or vice versa. So I don't know what recommendations you have for days that you're doing jiu-jitsu. Should you be doing extra cardio or other weightlifting, or how do you balance your schedule out in terms of your different types of workouts?
Sure. So first and foremost, and this is just kind of my philosophy, but you should always listen to your body. Okay, it is my opinion. And when I came to Kaizen, again, it's been about 3 years now, I would have considered myself in better shape than most. Jiu-Jitsu kicked my butt. I mean, it wiped me out. And so I needed to listen to my body. So as I see this more with male clients, and that's in my business as well as around Kaizen. We all have our pride, and we want to make sure that we don't just give up. Don't be afraid to throw in the towel occasionally. Listen to your body. If you're scheduled to come in on a Wednesday night roll, and when you wake up Wednesday, you feel like you got hit by a truck, you will not do yourself any good to come in and roll full speed. That's not to say that because jiu-jitsu is, it's a never-ending quest for knowledge. It's not to say that you can't come in and just do some technical stuff and maybe just rep things, but I would never tell you to go in and just roll full speed. Listening to your body is going to be key. I can't tell you how many people I've seen injure themselves simply because they haven't listened. And think of it as that's your body trying to have a conversation with you. It's telling you, hey, something is off. I need a little bit more time to recover. People are amazed when they ask me, when they see how I'm built, and they just have this assumption that I train and I lift weights every day and it's a 7-day-a-week quest. Honestly, aside from jiu-jitsu, I probably lift weights on average 3 days a week. That's it. Recovery is just as important. That's actually when the changes that we want to see happen, that's when they take place. So if you're on the mats twice a day and then you're lifting in the gym on top of that and it's turning into 3 or 4 days, your body's never given an opportunity to actually even make the changes in the first place. So, and again, the bottom line is you risk injury. I learned real quick that, even though I was a big, strong guy, I was really, really at risk for injury if I wasn't listening. So, yeah.
Gotcha. And you have a book that's coming out.
Yeah.
If you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So again, kind of what I do is more of on a consultant basis. So again, it's not I'm just putting people through workouts and kind of through doing that for the better part of 15 years now. For whatever reason, I've developed a pretty strong clientele, and it's very specific to females. So I decided to, after having enough of the same conversations over and over and over, having enough of the same situations take place where there's this woman that's sitting in front of me that doesn't feel like she can accomplish what I know she can, and then watching her take that journey and watching that huge transformation take place, I figured that I should put it in a book. So the woman, the title of the book is The Woman Missing in the Mirror, and it's obviously written for females. But that said, I mean, everything in there from a principle standpoint applies across the board. It doesn't matter if you're a male or female. So I'm excited about it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we've had some students at Kaizen that started training with Dean for their strength training. David Brown being one of them, who's already a scary individual, and now he's going to get stronger. So it kind of sucks that he's training with you.
Yeah.
None of us are looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Is there a way that you prefer that people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I have a ton of social media platforms. If you can look me up on Facebook, you can find me under Dean P. Mitchell. You can look me up on Snapchat, Dean P. Mitchell. You can look me on Instagram, same thing, Dean P. Mitchell. I'm trying to kind of keep things as universal as possible. I do have a couple websites. The website for my actual gym is MitchellFitness.solutions. And then the new website that this is actually going to be the first time I'm actually releasing it is deanpmitchell.com. And you can kind of, there's a ton of information on there. I do have a YouTube channel as well. That's MitchellFitness.solutions. If you search that, there is over 100 videos, and it's literally just hours and hours of information like this that I'm providing that literally will get you from point A to point B, and it doesn't cost you anything. So it's a huge resource. So feel free to subscribe.
Awesome. Well, you guys should definitely take advantage, because when you're training jiu-jitsu, it's not just a learning self-defense, but it's a transformation of your entire life, and you can really take advantage of the resources like Dean. You shouldn't pass it up. So, Dean, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right.